Hello, Colorado Realtors. I'm Scott Peterson. Thank you for joining me for another edition of Legal Bites. We are now safely into the official start of summer. Memorial Day weekend was last weekend. It's going to be a fantastic summer here in Colorado. Very excited for it, and I hope all of you are having a great one. I'm coming back. We're revisiting now. We're back on track for the Commission Position Statement Series. And believe it or not, kids, we're all the way up now to Commission Position Statement number 10. I've done 1 through, it'll be 10. I'm going to do 11 next, and so on. You get the point. And I think we're going to hit most of them. It's just taken me forever to get there. But this position statement is something that comes up an awful lot on the car legal hotline, and so I'm glad we're going to have a chance to address it. And that is the Commission Position Statement on the sale of manufactured homes by brokers. Of course, it's not your cousin's mobile home. Come in here. I brought in my very own cousin Eddie here. Cousin Eddie, boy, look at that beautiful mobile home there, Cousin Eddie.
Ain't she a beaut, Clark?
Boy, she is. Get out of here, Cousin Eddie. Goodness, that's Jacob Panzer. He's grown up. I haven't seen him in a little while. It's Monica's, my sidekick, Monica's. That's her son. So he's kind of like my sidekick nephew-in-law or something. Anyhow, well done, Jacob. So, on to the serious business. When and how you can do it. So here's the deal with selling manufactured housing in Colorado. If your mobile home, manufactured home, isn't connected to real estate when it's being sold, then you can't do it as a broker. You, in fact, need to be licensed in Colorado, have a dealer's license with the Division of Housing, which falls under the Department of Local Affairs, is where the Division of Housing resides. And so if you're selling manufactured homes between just two parties without any tangent or connection to real estate, real property, then you have to have a dealer's license. We do have, though, in Colorado what we call or refer to as the broker exemption, and that's one of the things that CP number 10 points out, is that if you're a licensed real estate broker in Colorado, then you are exempted from the dealer's license requirement in the event that the manufactured home that you're selling has a connection to real property. That connection can be either lease or sale. And so this would come up in two possible ways. And about 2.5 years ago, the Division of Real Estate, or Real Estate Commission, I should say, promulgated forms for you to use in doing these transactions. And there's 2 forms that you could potentially use. One is if you're selling land, let's say. So let's say you're selling a piece of land and there happens to be a manufactured home that sits on it. You might, in that situation, use the contract to buy and sell land, and then you would attach to that the manufactured housing addendum, which would be the addendum that sells that manufactured home, which is effectively personal property. It attaches to the contract, and that's what takes care of the conveyance of the personal property that is that manufactured home that sits on the land. And so your connection, obviously, there is the land. That's the connection to real property that you're selling. So you would be exempt from having a dealer's license in the event that you were handling that kind of transaction. The other form that you're going to see that you have available to you is the contract to buy and sell manufactured housing. And then in parentheses at the very top, it says lot lease only. This would be a lease situation. So in the event that you're selling a manufactured home on behalf of a seller who is just selling the manufactured home, and they're doing that because it sits in maybe a mobile home park or manufactured housing park somewhere, it sits there pursuant to a lease agreement that seller has with the property owner, the park owner, and whoever the buyer is, they're going to be entering into their own lease agreement then with the property owner. And so in that case, the tangent to the real property is the lease transaction. And so if either of those two things are present, you have forms to address it, and you don't have to have a dealer's license because you fall under the broker exemption to the dealer's license requirement. But if it's anything else, you're selling it between two parties or certainly selling it off of a lot, and there's not a connection to land, then you really shouldn't be doing it. But if you're doing it with a connection to land, then obviously you've even got the forms now to do that. The only thing in terms of best practice that they remind you in CP10 is that it is not just like any other transaction in terms of selling a manufactured home. There are different forms that are attributable to that. different considerations attributable to that as well. And so you have to have competency in order to do it. Because you have the license to do it is one thing, but as with any broker engagement that you might undertake on behalf of a consumer, your license is one thing, you've got to have the requisite competency to do it as well. And so make sure if you're diving into these things or just getting into these things that you're getting proper training, taking appropriate education, you have appropriate supervision, all of that good stuff that you'd need in any other situation. Anyhow, if you have questions about selling manufactured homes, or anything else having to do with your real estate practice, feel free to use the Car Legal Hotline. We love hearing from you there. And otherwise, we will see you again on another edition of Legal Bites. Thanks, guys.